Here's why setting longer goals to stay dye-free are better than shorter ones and will make you more likely to stick with it. When you decide to go gray, it's important to set a goal for how long you're going to go without dyeing your hair. It gives you something to shoot for, and it ensures that you don't quit too soon. For starters, the hardest part about going gray is not the going gray, it's the deciding to go gray. And the second hardest part about going gray is the first 2 to 3 months, where you look like you've missed a hair dye appointment or two, but it doesn't look intentional yet. This is where emotions are strongest. Setting shorter goals, say to make it just a few weeks without dyeing your hair, mean less conviction because you're really going to be second guessing yourself a lot. Because let's face it, this is the ugly stage. This is the hard part. And you start making all these micro decisions. How should I wear it? Should I get it color blended? What's the best way to do it? What am I gonna do for my cousin's wedding? And during that time, you're also obsessing over hair growth, because once you decide to go gray and you stop coloring your hair, it's going to feel like it stopped growing entirely. And that can get very discouraging in the first few weeks or months. With setting a longer goal from the start, you stop making all these micro decisions about going gray because you realize and accept that you're not gonna be fully gray anytime soon, which forces you to stop moping around, stop measuring every millimeter of hair growth, literally waiting for your hair to grow, and using that time, money, and energy that giving up hair dye will afford you to focus on improving other areas of your life while your hair is still growing, I promise. With less thinking and more doing, the longer you're actually going to stick with it, and the more you're going to get an idea of what your gray hair is actually going to look like. Setting a shorter goal keeps you focused on the end result instead of realizing that this is a journey. It's a process that's not going to happen overnight. You're not as clear about your decision, and you're going to be making a lot of excuses just to dye your hair again. Committing to a long goal means you're doing something bold and different, and you're going to start looking noticeably different, and people are going to take notice. And sure, you're going to get negative comments, but you'll 100% be able to laugh it off or give it right back to them, however you choose to handle it. This is about doing what you want to do, not what other people think. Setting longer goals gets you comfortable with the idea that this journey doesn't happen overnight, that there is more about you than the color of your hair. It can easily equal hundreds of dollars in your pocket, a lot less soul-crushing self-esteem issues. So when it comes to starting your gray hair journey, set a goal, but play the long game. Play to win and see it to the end. The longer the goals, the more traction you'll get, the more gray you'll have, and the better chance you'll have to get used to it and to love it. People have often noticed that when they've gone gray, they've actually improved their lives in other areas. They started focusing on other things, such as weight loss, relationships, even job changes. I don't think we really think about the time and the effort that are spent chasing those roots. Goal setting is nothing new for me. As an occupational therapist, I set goals for my patients on a daily basis. And for them, there's some value in setting short-term goals. But when it comes to growing out your gray hair, if you set the goal too short, you're not going to be able to realize what you have coming in, what your gray hair pattern is going to look like. You're not going to get far enough through the ugly stage to where you can even really appreciate your beautiful gray hair. I know it's really hard, but you want to try to adopt sort of like a set it and forget it kind of mentality. I'm gonna set a goal for this many months, I'm gonna get to that goal, and I'm not going to obsess over my hair or think about it the whole time. I know that's a stretch, but that's sort of what you're trying to do. When you get the itch to dye it again, just know you can always dye it again, but just try to get to that goal. Because what seems hard in the beginning and almost impossible, it's going to get easier as time goes by. You're not gonna care about it so much, I promise. So choose a time frame, mark it on your calendar if you have to. If you have to start Xing off days, that's fine. Maybe even set something in your phone. Anything that's gonna keep you on the journey and not have you quit too soon. It's okay if you decide you don't like your gray hair. That is perfectly fine. But give it a real chance. If you really want to do this, then you're going to want to give it enough time. Change is really hard, and slow change can be really painful, but I promise you, it is so worth it. When you start to realize how maintenance-free your hair has become, when you start to realize how healthy your hair has become, when you're not putting toxic chemicals on top of your head anymore. Think about the reasons that you want to go gray in the first place. Find your why and stick with that. Write it down somewhere if you have to. That way you can pull it out and look at it when you feel like you just want to grab that bottle of hair dye and touch up your roots. Just know that I totally understand it because I have been there. Believe me, I know. But when you let go and you stop agonizing over this decision and you just kind of dive in and do it, it's freedom, complete freedom.